What's up? We're live and my nails are painted because I was solo dad this weekend. My name is Wes Piatt and this is Brian Boucher. I own Coast Range CrossFit and he owns, which I need to add in here, owner of Midstate CrossFit in Merced. I'm in Gilroy, Garlic capital of the world, and today we are talking about a little somber thing. A buddy of ours, McCoy Turner, passed away. So we'll talk a little bit about him. We're going to talk about when you get the text message or message from a member that says, oh, I hurt myself and I'm going to take some time off, and what to do with that and navigating that whole thing. We'll hit the what really grinds my gears segment and kind of like talk about all this bull shenanigans with MetFix and High Rocks and World Fitness Project and CrossFit selling and whatever else. And we're going to leave with the new segment that Brian just came up with, and I freaking love it. It's called A Good Goodbye. And Brian's going to talk about something cool that happened to him. So let's start off with this. F you, PTSD. F you, man. That's this t-shirt. If you guys don't know, McCoy Turner, he is level 1 and level 2 staff flow master, which means that he's the boss. You show up on scene, you're walking up to McCoy. How can I help you, boss? What can I do? Which means that he has been vetted by Nicole Carroll, Dave Castro, Todd Widman, Chuck Carswell, Adrian Bosman, Austin Begebing. The list goes on and on and on and on of the people that look at you and go, should we make you one of us? One of the people whose job is to shepherd, whose job is to guide, whose job is to deliver this methodology around the world every weekend to people in a way that not only changes their lives, but makes them have the funnest freaking time they've ever had in their life too. And McCoy was the master at that. McCoy also had a form of, excuse me if I get choked up, a PTSD called complex PTSD. So this is where you have, and I'm very familiar with this because I actually have it myself. And it's where you have not just one or two traumatic situations that have happened to you, but you could have multiple, if not dozens of situations that have happened to you. And high or low scales, but it's more of the overwhelming of all of it that ends up getting to people, not just the overwhelmingness of the one incident that gets to people. And unfortunately for McCoy, it's what got to him and he took his own life. This, and just like anybody who's ever dealt with this before and had to deal with this before, knows that it comes out of nowhere, right? Air quotes. Comes out of nowhere. So I guess the only thing that I want to highlight besides go to justgiving.com and look up McCoy Turner. You guys can give there to help support his family. There's a company called Reorg who works with military veterans, and McCoy was a veteran, and they help just continue to make sure that that family that no longer has this father continues to get really the funds and the sources and resources that they need. And that's where you guys can go to help out with that. Go check out his Instagram, McCoy Turner. Follow it.
Do that. Just do that. So, I did not know this man. I know of this man, but I do know suicide, not as a person who has dealt with the yearning to hurt myself, but rather being exposed to people endlessly that wanted to hurt themselves. And how do you navigate that? From my perspective, while there's nothing that could have been, nobody did anything wrong to get this person to this place mentally, right? Nobody did this to him. This happened to him. But for the person that's on the other side, there's a level of possible interventional empathy that could be developed if we were more mindful about this, that would allow people to just get support more easily in the acute. And so what I mean by that is I just wish there was a more streamlined way for people that were going to do the thing would have a really obvious and robust way to be like, yo, I'm gonna do the thing. And a whole system would suddenly appear. And I know it's not going to come from government entities because that's not the intimate process that I think needs to happen. But there should be ways and words that people could say or do that would suddenly trigger a response. Maybe it's by the tribe. Maybe it's by the loved ones. Maybe it is a little bit of professional health development. I think this was what was supposed to exist when the Reagan administration began the deinstitutionalization of the mental hospitals. There was supposed to be this robust of hospital system of social workers and caseworkers, and like people are just supposed to like come to the rescue for mental and psychological events that just
Hmm.
never came to fruition. And
Yeah.
what it became was, if you're going to say you're going to hurt yourself or others, well, hurting yourself is a crime. So now I'm going to call the cops. But
Yes. Yeah, dude.
the
We
cops
always
see nails.
man.
Cops
I've
see
seen.
hammer nails. They're a hammer. Everyone's
Yeah.
a nail.
Yeah.
And I don't judge them for it. But that is
I've seen it where people have showed up for welfare checks and they literally put the guy who was about to kill himself in handcuffs and make him sit on the porch for an hour till the caseworker shows up in order to talk to him. He's still sitting in handcuffs so he doesn't harm himself. And like, and I understand it and I get it. And but this is the whole deal. It's like, yes, globally we need to figure out this dance. We need to
it's
figure out how
hard.
to do this dance with all of the trauma that we globally have decided through our commercial actions basically and consumerism to do and to put ourselves through all of this when we don't have to. It's like we got to just be gentle with each other, and I think like create more spaces for each other. Like hey, this thing is called the Third Space Podcast, right? And the
Right.
whole idea is that you're creating a space in which you can go. Like me and Brian only started this podcast because it was our third space where I would call Brian would call me, and we would just vibe out about affiliate stuff, about, being a
Right.
dad, about life. And we created this little space. And then, Weebus created that space too for dads. And like, it's just, if we can somehow find, no, we don't need to somehow find, we have found. Go to a CrossFit
It
gym.
happens to everybody at all walks of life. You could be a CEO. I would argue in the CrossFit space, there are few mountaintops like the Flowmaster position. So if what you're looking for is professional development to the nth degree, and a situation in which weekly people would look toward him and say things like, wow, I want to be like him when I grow up, and things like that. Those were not obviously in the moment acutely filling his cup. So it wasn't enough. So it crosses all barriers. It crosses all socioeconomic barriers. It crosses all race barriers, any kind, kin, creed. Pick your variables of demographics. Mental health, suicidal ideation, homicidal ideation
It's all.
runs rampant in the Western society that we live in, and especially in America, meaning the U.S.
Mhm,
And we have the means. It's
mhm.
not like we're like third world. All of the bad things are happening. You don't even have boots. We don't. You don't even have boots. So there are no bootstraps. So
Yeah,
do have boots. Even in
yeah,
the worst case scenario, there are safety nets and boots and bootstraps. And I will argue that forever. You can definitely be an inner city kid and, based on just society, become a CEO of a pick whatever you want. You can do anything you want in America. I believe that to the end of my degree. Do you want? But
yeah.
when it comes to mental health, that's not something that you did. That's something that's happening to you. And it could have been a concussion. It could have been,
Who cares what the reason was?
yeah, who cares what
It's
the
like
reason?
it's like when somebody walks in and like my shoulder hurts, and it's like we could sit here and talk for 20 minutes about why and how it happened, or we could just get to work on it. You know? And it's like
Yeah,
I feel like that's a situation. I don't want to get too stuck on this, but like
yeah, it
one
is
thing I
something.
do
It
want
is
to say is
again.
that like no, me too as well. Obviously, when we know why for both of ourselves. But the one thing I want to say is like I think that a really simple approach to this is what just happened to me yesterday. And I want to give a shout out to my buddy Jason New. If you guys are looking for a new house, he's your man to talk to in Gilroy. He's a real estate agent here, but he literally walked up to me yesterday after the 7 a.m. class, and I'm just sitting there. I don't know what I was doing. I was on my computer doing something, and he just goes, "Hey, dude." And he kind of looked around to make sure nobody's around. He goes, "You good?" That was it. And he goes, I just kind of noticed it seemed like your head was down a little bit, and I just want to make sure you're good. I'm gonna cry about it because it was just like
Yeah,
it was like guys watching out for guys. You know what I mean? It's like dudes looking out for dudes, and it's like if we just do that, man, that was enough for me. The person, like in that moment, I wasn't suffering in that moment, but if I was, holy cow, that would have been huge. So don't be afraid to go up to your buddies, to go up to your friends, and just to be like, hey, just checking in, make sure you're cool. You look like you might not be, and if they're not, then it's like sweet, and if they are, they're fine, then it's like, all right, cool, my bad, all good, you know. So I think that's a way to kind of something you can, I want, 'cause I always want to leave with an action item. You know what I mean? Like, here's something you can actually do to help. And that's coming from somebody who's, you know, I hate to say that, like I said earlier, like I have complex PTSD, and I don't want to say I have anything. You know what I mean? It sounds like you like, you know, like I've got this weird
You
disease, and I
have,
think it's just something that I deal with on a daily basis. And I have different ways of dealing with it. So, anyways, the bottom line is that like everybody knows somebody who's suffering from this, whether you know somebody who's suffering from this or not. And so I think it's just important that we all just kind of highlight it every once in a while when this happens, so that we maybe take an extra second to look at our friends and our family with
yeah,
a little bit more, I don't know what the
empathy,
word I'm looking for. Yeah, I
empathy.
guess
Have
love and empathy. Yeah. All
empathy, some
right.
emotional intelligence.
Rest in peace, McCoy. Rest in peace. But today we're talking about, you get this message, and I just got this message, which is why I want to do this. Hey, I feel like I hurt my put body part here. I'm going to put time of days here off. I'll be back later. And then it might even be followed up with, can you put my account on hold for a little bit or something like that, you know, whatever. And I don't even want to talk about the can you put my account on hold part of this, like whatever, that doesn't matter. I want to talk about why it is so important that if you feel like, especially as a new CrossFitter, that you might have done something to get your butt back in the gym and to have a conversation with the coach. Why, Brian? Why should we not take the time off and rest and do nothing?
I'm going to give you my answer, and then I'm going to give you some anecdotal evidence.
Oh,
All
I
right.
love it.
So the first thing I want people to really understand is that movement is medicine. And the same dose that got you in this problem is the same dose that's going to get you out of it. It's like gambling. All right. You can lose a card game, $100 a hand. But you can't just say like, "Oh, I'm gonna walk away from this table," and then come back and be like, $500. I'm gonna get all my money back. I lost 5 games in a row, $500. No, 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 no. That's not how it works. The dose. It's got to be the slow and steady pace of mechanics, consistency, and then intensity that's gonna get you there. So let's pull that back into exercise science and the CrossFit methodology. Let's say that we are pretty shoulder dominant on a particular workout. And, we really got to a scale option for you that made sense, but just the sheer volume of it just gave you an ache and a kink. An ache and a kink. You had
Or
full.
maybe you're just sore and you've never been sore
Yeah.
before. It could
Yes.
also be it.
Oh, I love this. A little lower back tenderness. It's not spinal. It's not.
That's what's happening with this person for sure. You know, it's not like she injured herself. And I know that because watching the form literally the entire time, there was not a single rep that was like, oop, that's where it happened, you know, because I coach.
Yeah. And so, it could be, and they don't know sacroiliac joints. They don't know rhomboids. They don't know shoulder girdle. What they know is this guy taught me how to do the push press or the back squat or the deadlift. And now
And
they're,
now,
and now I'm like, a little cranked. I got one athlete. He tells me yesterday, Brian, just because I complain doesn't mean I don't love it. Because he muscles every pressing exercise in the gym,
mm,
and we're trying to still teach him quarter extremity. But he was a bis and tris, backs and delts, a cardio day guy. So he's just not used to quarter extremity at all. His brain and his body don't have those types of conversations. But when I say press, he can press a fucking house. And so now we have to navigate. We have to navigate minimum effective dose for
mm,
him,
mm.
often with volume and load. And when he talks, it's just really funny because I don't want to expound. I'm not going to expound on the just keep showing up, man. Lighter weights, keep using those hips. And when you're dealing with somebody who is saying something along the lines of, I hurt my back. I'm achy. Everything hurts. I could barely walk up the stairs. What has often probably happened is you missed minimum effective dose for either yourself or others. So it's either you, the athlete, that the workout says 5 rounds of 15 back squats, 15 toes to bar, and a 1,000 meter bike. I don't know. I just made that shit up just now. But people, coaching staff members, trainers will look at that and only scale back possibly loading or range of motion, not realizing that maybe what you actually needed to decrease was reps,
The
was reps.
volume.
Yeah,
Yeah.
volume would maybe have elicited the same level of intensity for that person as needed, or built-in rest. Maybe you're
So
hitting.
this is, yeah,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
So this is where you got to be as a coach doing stuff. Now you need to go in and make a note about this person. Hey, here was the workout that happened or that they used. Here was the weight that they used. Here's how many reps that they did. And here's what happened afterwards. They
Yeah.
felt soreness or stiffness or tension or whatever here. Now you have a volume parameter to go off of. And next time that they show up, like what's cool about Stream Fitness is now it has this little dot in the corner that shows that they have a note, and you can click on it when they're checked into class, and it'll pull up the note, and you could be like, oh, what did they shoot? Last time they did 75 reps, and it was too much at 75 pounds. They're about to do 95 pounds for 100 reps. Whoa, hold on 1 second. Let's actually bring that back a little bit and make this minimum effective dose a little better for you. Because remember what happened last time, Lauren? Remember what happened last time, Bob? Or remember what happened last time, June? Right? We want to make sure that we're also doing our part objectively to make sure that this person is getting that effective dose.
The next step of like, hey, you signed up. Then I'm going to actually go one step beyond that. I'm going to go a little bit deeper.
Mm.
Have you established that you are their coach and they are your athlete? Or are they
Wow.
just a
Yeah.
member at the gym? Because if they're
Wow.
just,
Go into that deeper and what you exactly, yeah, like what are the
okay,
definitions of the two?
so let's say that you are running an affiliate. If you're listening to this podcast, you are either a member of an affiliate, you are an athlete of an affiliate, or you coach or own an affiliate. Those
Or
those are
you're the creeper at the gym
yeah,
that really wants
yeah,
to join one, that's for
yeah.
sure.
You're like handsome late 30-year-old men. Yeah, I gotcha. So if you have established that you are their coach and they are your athlete, and that you are in a season of life that we're training to be functionally fit across broad time and modal domains, we are able to do things across a lifetime. If you have established that, when that person says to you, hey, I kind of went too hard. This happened to my athlete Caesar the other day. I actually not even exactly sure what he did, but he was complaining of significant abdominal like tightness. He's like, I don't know, man, but like everything hurts right here. And I was like, and so I listened to him and I was like, all right, we'll just take it easy. You know, he still comes to the gym and just straight chills because he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do with his lunchtime. He's like, I'm going to go to the gym. But he's like, I
Dude,
just
no,
can't.
that's the best. Keep that
I,
ritual, you know?
I at first, so then I text him in the middle of the night on like a Sunday. It was like 7 p.m. And I was like, hey, I'm just gonna like say this because I'm thinking about you. Like, you're like pointing at your organs and you're guarding. Let's just make sure that's not your appendix, that's not your
There we
gallbladder.
go. Thank you. I was like, I hope you said go to the doctor.
But he knows that I'm coming to him with care and that I see him as my athlete. And I'm we have been together long enough that I've been his training partner. I've been to classes with him for years, and I've been his coach. I've been his
That
affiliate
is
guy. So we've been in
so
it.
powerful.
But but you can establish that relationship with all of your athletes so that when they come to you and they say, "Hey, I'm going to use the sacroiliac joint because it's very common." Oh, my lower back is cranked, and I poke them right on like their flank. It's like on the side, but it's not spinal. I was like, "Does it hurt right there?" And they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Yeah." For like 2 days. I was like, yeah, man. And I'll tell them how the sacroiliac joint, how it lays over the top of it lays over the top of the pelvis instead of underneath the pelvis, and it can float, but it will have
Dude,
a
I want
point.
one of those like moving skeletons so bad. You know, they had an anatomy class on like a wheels.
All
I
right,
know
Chris,
they're really expensive though.
Christmas comes.
Yeah.
And so to get to the layer above that, which is the tactic of dealing with somebody with an injury, you have to have established that trust that they are signing up to become an athlete at Coast Range CrossFit, and that their coach and the other coaching staff are there to optimize their lives, and that in the context of an injury, the Major League Baseball player from the Giants isn't like, so I hurt my shoulder and I know I'm an
Yeah.
athlete, like I'm gonna self remove myself from this team. No, what happens is they go to the coaching staff and they say like,
How
yo,
do I get back on the team?
I got this going on right now. And I'm like, yo,
Wow. Yeah,
I
what a powerful way to say it.
and so what you do is you say like, hey man, I've got my crossover symmetry right here. I have homework for you. You still have 3 good extremities. All right, so you can't go like this with a push press. Let me introduce you to my friend, the dumbbell. And or you're like, hey, like, have you ever considered like just kind of fucking around with the kettlebells a little bit? I'll teach you. Give me 5 minutes. I'll teach you how to do the kettlebell snatch, and you'll be able to do that for almost all of our quarter extremity hang positions to overhead. It's such a good workout. And it's now what class is coming up. We're going to do hang snatches tomorrow. Tomorrow, I want to just take a little bit extra time. I'll have it written into my lesson plan that you and I, maybe the whole class actually, we're going to go over the hang snatch with the kettlebell. I'm going to teach you how to punch. When it's 3, 2, 1, go, they're going to do barbell snatches, but you're going to do kettlebell snatches. It's going to help with your bilateral rehab if you're still unilaterally moving, because then I'll go back to my catchphrase, CrossFit catchphrase, that movement is medicine, right? Like that's my whole claim to fame. That's the reason why I operate my business, is because I believe as a medical provider that movement is medicine. And that if you just make simple dietary choices, you can save your own fucking life. But that is in the context of, did you establish the coach athlete relationship? Because what does Greg Glassman say? You have to risk orthostatic injury to fight chronic disease. I might not have that exactly right. It's written somewhere. But like,
It comes down to like what's best. Is it like doing nothing, doing something poorly, or doing it really well? Like it's better to do something poorly than do nothing at all. Is basically what he's saying.
which is exactly what people should be considering when they're dealing with the aches and the pains that are going to come with dosing
Yeah, don't
exercise.
stop. Don't
You don't,
stop.
there's
You don't
so many,
stop.
there's other great athletes, and you have these too, in which they do get kinked and they're just like, I'm here for it. This
Yeah,
is a move your body day. And I
I'd
wish that
rather have those.
how do you vial that person? How do you like take whatever is
You
in
go,
their ether?
you gotta go back and get new moms and dads and cousins and uncles and everybody they were surrounded with as children, and get them to change their whole way that they talked and the way they acted, and create a new environment for them to grow up in, so that now they're able to. It's like you're dealing with issues that you have nothing, you can't control. So like the idea behind it is like we want to create a step by step process. Basically, like somebody texts you, messages you, emails you, calls you, and says, I have a hurt thing. Here's what I do. Number one, make a note about it. Here's what I just had a conversation with so about, and on this date and at this time.
And do you share that like on a coach's page so now everybody knows, or do you share it on the coach on the athlete's profile?
Yeah, so I'll put the note on the athlete's profile, and then we use the app Marco Polo, and I'll send a Marco Polo to all the coaches, just letting them know what I just put in the app, so that when they pull it up, they have context to it. After that, I'm going to make a plan now, like Brian just said, some homework or something to do. But here's what I'm thinking about when I'm making the plan. Number one is why. Why am I making this plan? What do I like? This person has a hurt back. That's why. This person has a hurt shoulder. That's why. That will help you lead you in the direction of like resources and looking things up on the internet. Number two is, what is it that I'm trying to solve with that thing? And then finally, the three is, how am I going to solve that? So you got, why am I doing this? What is it I'm trying to solve? And how am I going to solve it? Then go up to the athlete with a co-op type of mentality. Hey, here's what I'm thinking. What do you think? Not, here is your homework. Do it or you suck. That's not coaching. That's dictatorship. What you want to do is go up to them and go, here's what I've researched, found out, and with my years of experience think might help, but I'd love to hear your thoughts too, and what we can do to make this better for you. If you just go through that process, I think that that is what you're talking about, Brian, as like the difference between athlete and member. Is now this person's like, damn, this dude is invested in me, and I feel like I have to then be invested back in them, like you're on a team, like you're saying.
Right.
I love that analogy. That is such a great way to, and I want to figure out how to say that to these members we have actually right now. There's a 30-day little challenge we're doing, bring a buddy thing, and they're in there, and I want to make sure that they understand that. So that's going to be fun to try to distill down into a way to bring that to them.
Opening day has occurred. So we're in baseball themes. Everything's good. This is something I think about a lot. I think about my coaching staff as a team. I think of my affiliate as a team or a franchise. I think about it in these ways. I want CrossFit to be considered, the way that they navigate their health. I want them to correlate that they're always not going to be their healthiest, fittest self, but there's a tapestry of health that you can evaluate and measure. And sometimes you are going to have aches and pains. Sometimes you're going to do things sometimes you're going to do a movement correctly and you're still going to tweak because we're old.
Would you rather have like an acute thing that happens to you every once in a while? You tweak a calf like I did, or a hammy, or a shoulder thing, and it takes a couple weeks to get back. Or would you rather chronically, for the rest of your life, deal with insulin shots or cracked heels and all that kind of stuff because you're a diabetic, or or hurt joints because you're 100 pounds overweight, or would you rather have that stuff, or would you rather like, oh man, I kind of tweaked my knee a little bit. I think I gotta like not take time off, but like modify some movement for a while, you know?
I mean, honestly, it's that simple. Like, hey, I'm not going to press overhead, so I'm going to bench with my back on the floor. Like, whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's so
totally.
simple. It's so simple. But tactically, as the affiliate owner, as the coach, as the trainer, there's a tack that
Yeah.
you could indulge them and be like, oh yeah, you really hurt yourself. Or you could call it for what it is. Now what?
Yeah, you're just honest
Yeah.
with the knowledge you have inside of your head. Like here's what I think. And then sometimes that might be why people are willing to allow people to put their accounts on hold and not come back in, because maybe they're a little unsure of their ability levels. Maybe they're a little unsure of like if they could get this person back. And I know I can because I've done it dozens of times with people in these exact same situations. The only way you're going to get better and know you can is if you actually make these people try this thing out and try to give them what's really going to help them out and make them better, track their progress.
There's something psychological about failure as well. And you have to sometimes create wins for people. They came to you for probably they don't know why. They're like, I think I should join Coast Range CrossFit. This seems like the right choice for me. They don't know why. They couldn't quite
Yeah,
articulate
totally. Yep.
reasons. Like, I think I'm supposed to do CrossFit. I think CrossFit's my answer. And you're
Yes.
like, yeah, I think
It is.
so too. And so if you are 3 weeks in and your minimum effective dose has increased slightly, but not enough that you go and do the thing of whatever you did, and now you're a little tweaked, all you are doing is, if you let that person cancel and walk out that door, is verify to them, the athlete, that they are not capable. That world-class fitness, that the fight against chronic disease is not for them. You have to be the person, the Jiminy Cricket, if you will, that is like, hey, this was bound to happen. I mean, like
Jiminy Cricket.
let me tell you about working in an ambulance for 20 years and sitting in vans and my hips. Let me tell you about that story because my hips are jacked.
Dude, that was a main correlate I saw between my calf rehab and other people that don't rehab is I'm getting almost 20 to 30,000 steps a day, moving weights, getting up and down through constant range of motion. I'm just not developing the scar tissue that somebody is that's sitting there 4,000 steps a day or under at their desk all day long. Like that's rehabilitation right there. It's just movement. Like you said,
Yeah.
movement is medicine, right?
But you have to teach that. That is
Mhm.
your responsibility. The trainer, the coach, the affiliate owner, they
Yes.
don't know.
Yeah.
They could be over beast. They could be over beast. They could be overweight.
Be
They could,
overbeasting it. That's a good way of saying overweight. You're
yeah,
overbeast.
yeah. I actually don't hate it. I actually don't hate it. Over beast. All
You're
right.
just a beast, but you're just overly
Yeah.
beast.
Yes. No. That's a good Freudian slip. We write that down. But that's exactly. They don't know that they're over beast. They think that they are obese. Right. They think that they are.
But they really are, dude. Like the people that are the biggest are the strongest, man. When you get that weight off of them, holy cow, they got a lot of strength, dude. It's so
There's this
cool.
girl Rachel. I love. Like there's some people that you just want to razz. You just want to kind of.
Yes, that's Sarah. I was just thinking about her. Yep.
And so this girl, Rachel Estrada, she's pretty new. And she was having a bad day a few weeks ago and she wasn't loving the exercise. And she came in the next day and the conversation just started. I knew that she had a bad day because one of my coaching staffs, kind of like how you do it on Marco Polo. They were like, hey, I looked at Rachel that day yesterday.
Yeah,
And I
good.
told
That's what
her,
you're
I was
supposed to
like,
do.
yeah, I told her, I was like, hard days are exactly the days you're supposed to show up and we never let the bad days win. That's all I said. And then I went off and did some other whatever cockamamie shit I was doing. But
And
she's
either
like,
she went, "What a weirdo," or she went,
no,
"That's what I needed."
she immediately like she was like, oh,
Cool.
they care.
Yeah.
When I have bad days, they'll notice.
Say the thing, guys. Even if you feel like you don't want to say the thing, like Brian just did, say the thing. It helps
Yeah.
sometimes.
And it did. I think it did. She's in the gym all the time now. She's on her own over beast journey, and
So
she's gonna be a monster.
I think the bottom line is that we're taking people from this group fitness understanding they have of like, I'm a member at this place. If something happens to me, like I'll just take some time off and I'll come back whenever, to like, no, you're joining a team and I am your coach. And if you get anything happens to you, my job and my career is based around getting you back into the game, getting you back on the team. And give me, please, the opportunity to prove to you and to gain credibility with you by doing this. Like, let me show you what we do here, that we don't do it like what you think.
What do you think in baseball? There's a theme to the great teams,
Mm,
and or like the
yeah,
awesome stories. And who do you think is always the most beloved?
like team wise, you mean, or
Yeah.
person wise?
Let's think just baseball for a second.
Dude, it's the underdogs.
It's a manager.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, like on the
So,
team. Okay.
so
Oh,
like,
interesting. Okay,
gotta
keep going.
think about all your favorite teams.
Okay.
Theo Epstein's the general manager.
Dude, you're totally right. Yeah, immediately think of the person in charge.
Like, so like you think about there's character. And then all the best affiliates, all the best teams, they got characters. Those characters are the
Yeah,
athletes. And you're like, tell me about your culture. And I'm like, let me tell you about my shortstop. And it's like
yeah,
the athlete that catches all the balls. It's everybody's back. He's going to cover third base. He's going to cover second base. He's going to cover the outfield for the stop off. Like
yeah. Next
and
man
like
up. Doesn't matter. Yeah,
when
yeah, yeah.
when you start to think of your affiliate or your classroom, even and it could be classroom to classroom. That's why classes will like name themselves. Another
Yeah, we
favorite.
have all of our classes are named. Yeah,
Yeah, right. So they're a little team, and then
yeah,
that's the manager and
yeah.
the set in the lineup and setting the stage and like, hey, we're playing small ball today. Hey,
Oh,
we're hitting hard today. You know what we're gonna do today? I think the way to win is bunt. And like there's something to this analogy that if you do have somebody that on the team gets hurt, like they're not broken, they're injured.
go. Let's go. Let's get to work. Dude, and how, I don't think people understand too, like how much benefit there is actually to doing the accessory work after you're injured and how that could actually be beneficial for you long term wise to actually do all these like weird little things off to the side for a little bit of time, you know, or whatever it is that you're doing. Like that could be health wise actually better for you if you
I
think
just
about it.
I had this really great conversation. It was a tough conversation. As months pass on by, I appreciate the conversation more and more. One of my coaches, Lori, she's a CHP officer. She's fucking awesome.
God bless your soul.
She's the best. She's the best person.
CHP officers are, you guys don't even understand. Talk about PTSD. Holy cow.
We've been training together for more than 10 years, and she's been on my coaching staff for a long time. A long time. She gives me a call. She gives me a call, and she'd been trying to come in, and our schedules weren't working out. And she said, like, I'm not feeling like an athlete these days.
That's cool.
My
She
knees are
said that.
bothering me. My knees are bothering me. Like the coaching is like, I just need a break. Sort
Hmm.
of like, hey, I'm going to put my membership on hold. And I was like, man, Lori, like, if you need to stop being on the coaching staff for now or forever, but it makes you more able to get onto the floor as an athlete and exercising. And then she's like, yeah, I got this knee thing. And she had this knee thing for a while. She was doing some pistols and it just didn't like, the track didn't sit right.
Yeah, she's a
She
CHP
comes in.
officer. She should probably shouldn't be doing pistols that often. You know, like
Yeah, her
her hip
husband,
flexors are
her
pretty
husband,
tight.
the truck driver. I call him Cobra.
Yeah,
His
they
name's
should call it.
Cobra.
That's like team type hip flexors right there.
Yeah, and so he starts. He doesn't leave the gym all that. He comes more. She starts cracking jokes. She's like, I take a rest. I take a pause on my coaching, and you come to the gym more. Does it?
That's what you
He
need.
knows what's up.
Vicarious experiences
Cobra,
through other
Cobra
people.
knows
Yeah,
what. And she's been on the floor a little bit more. She got a cortisone shot in that knee, and yeah, but it helped her a lot. It helped her like
I know. I'm just not fans of cortisone shots. I hate them.
yeah, it helps
They
her. Oh
bother
my
me.
she
That's good.
squatted
That's great.
below parallel and she's doing the thing. She coached a class yesterday. It was a push press day, and she slayed it. But you have to have the wherewithal, the emotional intelligence as the manager to be like, hey, one of my one of my glue guys is coming. He's like,
Yeah.
hey, I got a thing. And you're gonna be like, all right, we're sending you down to AAA. Do what you got to do. Get back in here as soon as you can. Your roster spot's ready when you come back. And now she's fucking slaying it. And I'm going to tell her, I mean, after this conversation, I'm actually going to reach out to her today and be like, yo, I was talking to Wes about this thing. And
And check out this podcast.
yeah, check it out. Listen to the thing. So I'm just because when Lori, when your glue guy is saying like, "Hey, I need a break," you're like, "What did I miss? What did I miss as a manager, either as a friend or as a leader? That like I was missing it. Oh, she's on the floor too much coaching. She's not on the floor enough doing the exercising, doing the CrossFit. That's gonna mess with people. That's gonna mess with people. It becomes a job, not the funnest thing they do with their day every day. And so,
Yeah.
how do you navigate that? It's the same thing for the athletes. They don't want to come in, be like, I can't do this.
Yeah,
This is
totally. They're
not
supposed to be there to have fun.
like, no, like fucking figure out what works for them.
Yeah, make it fun. Make it fun.
Make it so that they manifest some wins as the manager. You want to get somebody to have a pump? You got to
Yeah, that
manifest a win.
actually, and you could do that through programming. This is a good plug for McCoy too. McCoy Turner, he did God, what was it? It was like 2015, no, 2017, I believe. There's an article on 3 programming mistakes that he wrote in the CrossFit Journal that really I will highlight this and help you guys out a lot with programming for people coming back and programming in general. So check that out on the CrossFit Journal. I can't
We can put
remember
that
the
in,
name of it. Yeah,
yeah, like
I'll try to figure out the name of it and get it. But I'm pretty sure it's 2017. It was like 3 mistakes or something of effective coaching, or I can't remember. I'll look it up for sure. I'll put it in the show notes for you guys. But, let's move on. Let's move on to what grinds our gears. What do you think?
I'm in. I'm in.
All right,
Apparently, I'm really excited about the baseball season.
dude, I'm pumped. Heck yeah, heck yeah. We're already looking at tickets for some Giants games. Oh, we gotta go to Giants game, dude. Let's get the families. That'd be so fun, dude. We'll get bleacher seats and stuff. Look into the 415 Club. Look into that. All right. So what grinds our gears? Right now, what's really grinding our gears and what's really grinding my gears is all this drama with CrossFit selling, High Rocks trying to come in and affiliate, Metfix now is in the scene. Basically, Greg's just back preaching exactly what he's always preached, except he's just going, hey, you guys didn't listen the first time. You remember what I said at the bottom? Nutrition. Nutrition. Okay, you know what I'll do instead? I'll just make a whole new model that says, like, okay, focus on this, you idiots. He has been saying that since the beginning, that our focus as CrossFit affiliates is supposed to be on nutrition first. And so for all of you guys who are like, this is the new thing, this is the thing that's going to get everybody to actually, you haven't been teaching it the way you were supposed to be teaching it this entire time. That's my thing about Metfix. But I'm actually kind of excited to see what happens with it, honestly.
Yeah, that's
And then there's the World Fitness Project. So we've got all of these franchises or whatever they want to call themselves coming in and trying to basically take capital revenue away from CrossFit and put it in their pocket. And the way that they're doing it is by saying, we will provide this to you in which CrossFit is not doing right now. But I need to like just remind people to take a full stop and remember what Greg all taught us at our level 1 is that nutrition is the base and that metabolic fixing is what we do. And we use exercise as the driver to do that, you
cool.
know?
I'm gonna do it people by people. So we're gonna start with High Rocks, and then I'm gonna do Metfix, and then I'm gonna do the World Fitness Project, and then I'm just gonna talk about CrossFit.
First thing I want to say is that I don't have anything against any of these things.
No,
Like,
fine.
I'm totally neutral in all of it, honestly.
It is all CrossFit. All right, so we're gonna end on CrossFit by just saying, I'm just gonna like just say that all of those things that we were just
Just
mentioned.
doing what you want to do in CrossFit, basically. You're cherry
Yeah,
picking.
yeah. So when you think about High Rocks, I think of it as the new Spartan. I see it as like
Totally.
an indoor Spartan. There's always been CrossFit athletes that lean toward I like to run. Like that's always been a thing in all gyms forever. Yeah. And so that it just seems like those people got together and they're like, we're gonna invite people to do this with us. And that's what it is. I have athletes that have done High Rocks and they loved it. But
Here's the one thing. that does scare me about the affiliate model of it is I've met a few coaches now that have come to level twos that are High Rocks coaches at High Rocks affiliates, and their classes, they say, are like 30 to 50 people.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
And I'm like, I don't know if that's coaching. I think that's,
Well, there's a
I don't
difference.
even know if you could group manage that by yourself, you know?
No, there's something about exercise facilitation and coaching. It is not the same.
Yeah, just beep, next station, beep, next
Yes.
station.
So,
Yeah, totally.
and you could put Orange Theory into this conversation. You could put anything that we do CrossFit like exercises. Like, fuck, shut the fuck up. You're doing
You're
CrossFit,
just doing CrossFit. You're just doing CrossFit and you're cherry picking it. That's all you're doing.
or
You're not
you
doing the
just
stuff that you actually don't want to do that's actually going to make you better.
oh, you don't study before you teach a class. Got it. You do CrossFit like, yeah.
Copy that. Yeah, you do the exact same thing every single day, basically. Oh, so it's a lot easier for. I feel like, man, we're really hating on High Rocks right now. I don't want to hate on it because, like, I've never done it, number one, and I also think it's kind of cool looking, number two.
Listen, the only reason why Lori runs as CHP officer is because children and criminals run away. If
And
she didn't have to, she loves running. She freaking loves it.
you're
But
sprinting
it
after
is all
somebody.
right. You're gonna have hybrid athletes and all of this. I can kind of get behind that. Like, it's cool. You do CrossFit.
Yeah,
You're just
great,
kind of cardio bunny, and you made yourself your own little thing. Cool. I like
totally.
that. Like, I don't know if, as an affiliate owner, I would want to be a High Rocks gym and pay more money to another affiliate model so that I can teach running. I'm fucking pretty good at teaching running as it is. Like, I
Yeah,
might not
and
run
burpee
well,
broad
but
jumps.
yeah,
How to pull a sled and push a sled. It's
yeah.
like such basic stuff that we do it for our warm ups. It's like, yeah, let's go on a run, let's push a sled, let's pull this, let's do some burpee broad jumps, and then let's go into our workouts. And here's some more skilled movements that will build upon these and make it actually harder for you neurologically, and you'll get a neuroendocrine actual response out of this thing instead of, it's like I think what all of this stuff is going to eventually come down to, and I think like what Ghost Range will probably eventually come down to is if CrossFit ever goes away, is that like instead of being Coast Range CrossFit, we are Coast Range Community Fitness. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a High Rocks. I'm not going to be an Orange Theory. I'm not going to be anything. I'm just going to be Coast Range because now 12, I mean we're coming up on 12 years in April next month, and it's like if I have built a really good reputation in 12 years of what we do and how we do it, and that you're going to get good coaching when you come to me. So it's easier for me to say that I'm like not going to buy into the High Rocks stuff or like try to jump on this train, and I can understand that it'd be a lot harder for somebody else who's like, dude, I'm looking at dollars and cents. And when I look at my P&L and L and I look at what High Rocks could do for me, or I look at what I think Metfix could do for me, or whatever, it's like if you feel that that is an opportunity for you, go for it. But here's what I'm going to say: at the end of the day, when I'm laying on my deathbed, I want to look back and be like, did I do it the right way? Did I do it the way that I knew was going to get the best results for everybody? Or did I do it in the way that got the best results for me financially? And I want to be able to lay on my deathbed and be like, no, I didn't chase the buck. I chased the health for every single person around me. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that by biasing, honestly, your training towards something like High Rocks, which is mainly cardiorespiratory endurance and strength, stamina, and endurance, you are missing a key aspect of health and strength, which is just relative strength and being strong and having a neurological piece to it, like learning the snatch or the clean or whatever it may be. So, no matter what, I will never stop doing constantly varied functional movements executed at a relative high intensity for the person.
Now, Metfix is something that I understand a little bit less, and I think it's because Metfix doesn't know what Metfix is.
I'm really excited to see if that's true when they figure out what it is. Because, like, anything that puts an emphasis back into nutrition for me, I'm like, cool, let's figure out how they're doing that. And, like, if you got smarter promoters and marketers out there than myself, which is not a good one, in order to help me get that word out to people to bring, then that's what I've been trying to do this whole time.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to not want to hear more from Greg Glassing because I think he has some more to say. I also think he's a little bit wiser than he used to be. He still says wild shit sometimes.
God, just pops off, huh?
Yeah, yeah, he says some wild ass shit sometimes.
They just
Um,
yell at Rich and whatever. And it's like,
yeah,
man, why, just
yeah,
chill.
like it's
Just
not
chill.
necessary. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
you
not
have
necessary.
everything's fine. Like you're set. Your family's set. Your family's are set.
Literally. I think that's a problem.
But I think he's adversarial. I think after
Well, that's what made him so great, honestly, in the
20
beginning.
after 20 years of working in global gyms and realizing that shit was broken, he was able to write stuff down. But it doesn't change his adversarial state. You know what personal trainers were like back in the day, right? They're a little ornery, you know? It's hard. It was hard to be a personal trainer back in the day. Greg is just a manifestation of that. He's a gym rat that
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that moved from the 80s into the 90s, figured out what to say in the 2000s, and CrossFit manifested itself like a tree. But
Glassman wouldn't have done high rocks, I'll tell you that.
no, he definitely would not have. But that's where I think it is. It's like, do you deeply believe in Greg Glassman if and what he's trying to do? Then MetFix might be for you. Like, but like you got to be willing to want to get back on the Greg Glassman bus, which I might want to get on the Greg Glassman bus. I mean, I quote him daily. You know, I quote the man daily like a fucking scripture. So
Uh-huh.
I'm not. It's not a no. It's like tell me more things that I need to know because sometimes you say things that mean deeply important stuff to my shit. But that's where
I'm
I'm at.
very I'm very loyal. That's my only problem. So I'll ride the CrossFit train until it dies. That's for sure. But if it does die, then I don't know about a Met fix or any of that stuff for me. Honestly, I want to create a
Now,
community
the one that
brand
really
that's like.
grinds my gears, the one that grinds my fucking World Fitness, whatever their names are.
I hope that they figure it out, man, because I want the best for everybody, and especially those guys. They're just good people. And they want to do the best, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to just do it better, but they're like,
I am so very concerned that D1 athletes, because that's essentially who's at the toppest tiers of these things, these D1 level athletes who are trying to create this thing misunderstand the ecosystem. And they're going to try to make an affiliate model for the most competitively edged exercisers out there. And that demographic is small.
it's never worked. There's been plenty of gyms that have tried to, what Greg used to always say, try to fly that flag and see how it goes. The only gyms that's ever worked at is Mayhem.
And he has to fly people in and move them in. It's very
He's got
trans.
Airbnbs up the wazoo. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole thing that he and only the fittest man on earth for 11 years could do that.
Even the other fittest man on earth tried to do it and is having trouble doing it with his world or his
The other
hard
one
work
in
pays off. Like it just doesn't work because the bottom line is that there's just not that many people that want to actually sit in a gym for 8 hours a day. They got lives and they want to use them. So that's supposed to be the whole point of CrossFit anyways, is not to be in the gym. It's to use the
yeah.
minimal effective dose in order to get out there to use it. Right?
So to build a business model on that, and then to affiliate as a small business owner, to then give my dollars and cents to that model for 5 athletes at my gym, and 5 athletes at my gym they're great athletes in comparison to America.
Yeah.
My
I
three
think
kids,
it
Brittany and Kate, are fucking studs. They're
yeah,
specs.
dude. Yes, they
But
are.
in the context of CrossFit,
Yeah, totally. Did they make quarters or semis? Did they make
oh yeah,
right? Like no,
no, neither of
not
none
even
of them. None of
close.
them are
Not
top
even
120.
close.
Not yet.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, they got closer than I did.
But that's the thing. Like it's like, anyways, yeah. All right. So MedFix, High Rocks, World Fitness Project, all that kind of stuff. It's like I think that the World Fitness Project could be really cool for a coach that really, 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 really loves competitive CrossFit and
Like,
wants to have a really small affiliate with like 10 to 15 people that they are just like traveling and doing the competitive thing and like these are their athletes and this is their team and they're paying them like you can make
five,
it work like that for sure. Like
yeah,
totally. But then you got to think about the life cycle of those athletes and how long is that going to last? You bring in the new ones, where are they coming from? How you getting them? How you developing them? It's like, ooh, that sounds awful to me, but
yeah, no.
you do you, boo.
All right. The last one is CrossFit is selling.
Yeah.
Thank God. Thank God. I think that the Celtics, the Boston Celtics just sold. All right. One of my favoriteest team and exercise, they sold for $6 billion, 6.1 billion. I'm not gonna not be a basketball fan. I'm not gonna not be a bleed green Celtics fan. Like ride or die, baby. We always knew that they were gonna sell, and we knew that they were going to sell somewhere around the 5 year mark.
Yeah. Here we are.
Ta-da! Fucking game plan executed. That's just good management. All right. That's some Terry Francona level shit. We're gonna do this. We did this. Ta-da! And so
Ta-da.
I really hope that we can, because sometimes getting new ownership is exactly what you need. You can get a new ownership team like Robert Kraft buys the Patriots.
Yeah, totally.
A shit franchise. They
You're
suck. The
so
Raiders.
Boston. I love
Yeah,
you.
right. But like, this is a really good example of fucking stop freaking out. It's gonna be fine. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So
yeah. I'm reminded of the Buddhist story of who knows what is good and who knows what is bad in this
yeah,
situation. You know, it's like, just wait. Let's just wait and see. It could be awesome or it could be crap. But no matter what it is, make sure that your affiliate, make sure your gym is doing what you need to do to have security, to feel good, no matter what happens with CrossFit or any of that stuff. Like, these little small businesses aren't going anywhere. So,
Robert Kraft gets Bill Belichick, who gets Tom Brady, and you go on the run.
yeah, you
But
just
if
need a
you
good, yeah.
told 85 New England Patriots fans that they would be the most dominant franchise for 2 decades, they'd be like, no.
Yeah, it's like the
And,
Oakland
and
days.
that same thing is true of CrossFit selling. I hope that we can get a Robert Kraft to come into this doors who cares passionately about local football in New England and then does the thing. It would just be in the context of this person knows CrossFit and has great ideas that he will stand on that are
Totally.
like, this is how I'm going to do it. You want to do it this way? Bill Belichick was not a loved person, right? Like, but he got hired for a job and they made the best team for 20 straight years. So go, let's see what happens. Well, you can could get so much good could come. So don't freak out. It's going to be fine. Know what your responsibility is? Making sure that your team is dialed in. Make sure that you've got your manager strategy. You know your players and that you're going out there every day. You're trying to win the game. Win the game, you get to open your doors the next day.
I
That's
love it.
your. All right.
All right, let's move on. A good goodbye.
A good goodbye. We made this up 5 seconds ago, guys. Well, maybe an hour. We're almost at an hour, right? Yeah, we're almost at this
Yes.
thing. All right. A good goodbye. Let's talk about CrossFit real quick. I'm a little biased on this one, but so be it. I got reached out by CrossFit brand just via email, and they're like, "Hey, your local, your West Coast affiliate rep said something nice about you, and I want to learn more about you." So I had a nice conversation with Maggie Mullen, and the latest, the CrossFit podcast with Denise Thomas. She interviews,
My favorite.
yeah, she interviews Don Fowle, a good manager leader guy. A transition guy, but a manager leader guy. You got to have that manager to have the next manager. They do a little expose on Mid-State CrossFit, and a bunch of our photography goes up, and she speaks, for about 3 or 4 minutes about what we're doing and why we care. And she does it in her own Denise Thomas way. It's nothing special, nothing crazy. But if you'd like to check it out, it was a
Yeah.
nice, pleasant thing for me. Episode 7 of the CrossFit podcast with Denise Thomas and Don Fowle. I'm at the end.
Oh my gosh, so great. All right, well, hey, we're going to take off. Thank you guys for watching. This is the Third Space Podcast. Be sure to check us out on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and specifically, if you could share this episode with somebody, that's what's going to help us out the most. Hope you guys have a great day.
Bye.